Good morning. Good morning, real country friends and friends. Um, let's see. I'm an early riser, and I normally start work at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I'm off work today because this weekend my daughter's getting married. We have a bunch of like wedding prep stuff to do, so I'm taking Thursday and Friday off this week. So I wasn't working. I recorded one conversation that's in the hopper earlier this morning. Um, that's going to go on the gaming channel. I'll link to it on the main channel too, for those of you who haven't found the gaming channel yet. But I decided to take the gaming content that I do and put it off on its own channel. And I'm going to start doing more gaming related content. So the conversation I had this morning was with JM Defagi, who is involved with Strange Owl Games, the company that is publishing Richard Rowland's Amboria role-playing game that's coming out. Morning, Grizz. See Grizz in the chat. Good morning to you too, sir. And we just had this great conversation. We talked about, he reached out to me. He had seen my conversation with Richard, and he said he wanted to talk. And so we talked. We talked about like his own experience with role-playing games and designing role-playing games. And it turns out, besides the mutual acquaintance with Richard, who he is good friends with and lives 7 miles away from and games with on a regular basis, and whose game he's publishing, but he also knows the former rector of my local church, Father John Allen. Father John Allen is actually part of the ACNA community there in Arlington, Texas, near where he lives, and so he goes. So he knows because of the local Anglican community in that part of Texas. He knows the former rector of the church I attend now, Father John Allen. So we had that connection too. It's a great conversation. It should be coming out soon. It's sitting in the library. Jess will do his magic and make me a bumper and a thumbnail that doesn't look like trash and make me look way better than I am, and then it'll be posted, and then you can all enjoy it. So I just I had a little bit of like, no one else is up yet, and I didn't know what else to do with my time, so I decided I'd come and talk to you. And I also wanted to talk about something that happened this morning before I did my interview with JM. And I don't know what to make of it, but I'm going to share it anyway. I was praying my morning rosary. It's a Thursday, so I was praying the Luminous Mysteries. I pray my rosary in Latin. But in the middle of my rosary, like right in the middle of the Fatima prayer, the song Wayfaring Stranger just kept. I actually was not able to finish the prayer because the song Wayfaring Stranger just kept drowning out the words that I wanted to say. And it's like, I've been doing this for a long time. It's like, these are prayers I have memorized. So it wasn't like I had forgotten the words, but I actually couldn't say it. Like, I actually couldn't continue the prayer until I could not continue the prayer till I stopped in the middle of my prayer and sang a verse of Wayfaring Stranger. And then I was able to continue my prayer. And the verse that I chose to say was I'm going home to see my mother part. So, so that was that. And it was very powerful. I ended up crying. I'm a little praying my rosary this morning. And then I continued with the rest of the prayer. And that's a very meta-angelical moment, as you know. But as like anyone who's been following me closely knows well, it's like my origin story is Pentecostal. So it was a very meta-angelical kind of morning for me, where it was a very Pentecostal moment interrupting my very Catholic Latin rosary. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. and invite people to come in and chat with me. I have absolutely no agenda this morning, and I don't know how long. If my daughter's going to show up, and I'll be doing wedding stuff. Actually, probably not even once my wife gets up and makes me actually do something productive. I have to stop. So I could stop. I might have to stop at any moment, but for the time being, I am available. There's the link. Come talk to me. Let's take a look and see what we got in the chat. We have let's see, we got the greeting from Graham. Oh, and then we have Almighty Om, the lyrics from Wayfaring Stranger. Yeah. And yeah. Oh, thank you, Almighty Om. Yeah, Almighty Om has provided the lyrics from the part of the song that I felt myself compelled to sing before I could complete my rosary this morning. So let's see. I guess I could just talk about what's going on in my life while I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to come in. My kidney function is kind of holding steady. To like it dropped a little. It got a little bit better immediately after surgery and it's kind of like settled in. My creatinine's running between 3.5 and 4. Kidney function is between 18 and 20%, depending on the test. And it hasn't gotten any better than that. I have been losing weight. I'm down to about 280 pounds. I'm 6'1". And my nephrologist wants me to take Ozempic, but I'm not diabetic. I know, fat guy's not diabetic. Yeah, imagine that. I'm a big meat eater guy, so I guess that's probably why. I've never eaten a whole lot of carbs. I just consume massive amounts of animal flesh. I'm a barbarian like that, and so I'm not diabetic, despite having been overweight for a good chunk of my life. So because I'm not diabetic, I wasn't able to get that covered, and it is miraculously good at preserving kidney function. Not only has my nephrologist recommended it, but I have a friend who I game with who is also he's a researcher at University of Washington, and he was like, "Yeah, if you can get on it, it's really like better than anything at preserving kidney function." But the thing is that it's not actually like an approved use for the drug, and so since I'm not diabetic, the only thing they prescribe it for is weight loss. My insurance won't cover medications for weight loss, so I can't get it. Well, I mean, I could pay like whatever the outrageous price is for it, but I can't afford it without my insurance covering it. So yeah. They had me on Jardiance for a while, but that made me really tired, so that didn't work out for me well. So I just stopped taking that. So really, the only thing that they're able to give me as a new medication is lisinopril, very low dose of lisinopril. Essentially to try to help preserve my kidney function as long as possible. I'm having a port put in. Not that I don't need dialysis yet, but I'm meeting with a surgeon next month to start the process of getting ready to put a port in for when I need dialysis in the future. That'll happen more like when my creatinine is more like 8 to 10 in that area. So it's currently not there. But my nephrologist wants to be ready for that eventuality. He also referred me to the transplant program at University of Washington Medical Center. I need to have no cancer in my scans for a year before I'm a candidate for a transplant. If that's the route we go down. So no, the cancer has not come back yet. My odds of recurrence were rated at 50-50. My first post-surgery MRI and CT scan was clear, and we'll see what what happens going forward. So that's the update. Looking forward to seeing everybody at Midwestuary. I will be there. My wife will be there. Southeastuary, I'm involved with. I've been helping Dave Williams. That Secret Godfather remark by McMo was like, that was very clever, and it was also like very attentive and noticing something, because it was a very appropriate thing to say. And the reason it was an appropriate thing to say is that Dave is the one who always, like, I'll say something that I think is crazy and probably not remotely orthodox, but is how I see things and what I think the case is. And then Dave will come along and say, "Oh yeah, this church father said this," and it'll be almost exactly the same as the thing I just said. So that Secret Grandfather remark from McBo and his randos was very insightful, very very intuitive. But Dave is great, and I've been helping Dave organize the Southeastuary conference. Dave is not in front of the camera person, so he needed someone who is a shameless attention seeker in order to help him promote his conference, because Dave is happy to be just quietly in the background, doing awesome things and being awesome. He's inviting us all to come to the mountains of North Carolina and hang out there with him. And I've helped to gather. I mean, you can see my touch is pretty evident if you look at the speaker list. We have Jordan Hall, who is a natural fit, coming out because he actually lives in that area. We have Esther Meek coming out, who I had on my channel not too long ago, and I think it's just delightful. And then we have Jordan Daniel Wood and Chris Green, who have been on my channel a lot, and who obviously I have a great deal of respect for and friendship with. And then the newest thing, now this isn't official yet, but I am negotiating with a musician who I discovered by algorithmic accident. Yes, just yesterday. And I happened to notice that she said to go to North Carolina. And we're having a conference in the mountains of North Carolina. And she plays traditional Appalachian folk music, which I happen to love. And she does it very well. She has a YouTube channel with about just shy of 15,000 subs, I think. She's got 14 videos up. She uses the stage name of Murphy Campbell, which I don't think is her real name, but that's the stage name she uses. You can look her up on YouTube. She emailed me back. She's interested. And I'm going to try to set up a voice call next week, work out logistics, and figure out like what's fair amount to pay her and all that kind of thing. I made an initial offer that I thought was not insulting after consulting with my wife. So, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So it got approved, but it's not, so it's really good. But I don't, for whatever reason, it's, even though it's not, insurance isn't covering it for that use yet. Even though, it is recognized. It's like all the research indicates that it's actually like maybe better at that than its primary function. So, but I can't get it. So, we're appealing it. So hopefully we can get the drug companies to change their mind. Anybody feel like coming on and chatting this morning? I'll drop the link again. Hey, Hezzy, how's it going? Neil? At least one brave soul must must be willing to join me this morning. I am not Luke. I cannot talk. I cannot talk to the camera by myself. What if someone doesn't agree with me? I will do what I have to do if I'm alone, and that is I'll just start reading. I'll just start reading the book. Like, this is the book. I'm warning you. This is what's going to happen. I'm just going to start reading if someone doesn't get on here. This is the book that I'm working on. That by friend JD Lionheart, who's been on Grill Country before. A couple times. I talked to him about his book Monotheism, which was his book on the Trinity, and then I also had him on to talk about his book Space God, which was like a kind of attempt to steel man an old early modern argument using the analogy of space to talk about God, which was also very interesting. JD is just like a great guy. He's friends of Jordan Daniel Wood. And Jordan's brother Shane, who's going to be coming on soon. Oh, hey, I don't think we've ever had a chance to talk together before. So this is like, I've seen you, and I'm sure you've seen me, but we haven't had a chance to talk together. So welcome. Good morning. How you doing? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I had to set my mic. It was on the wrong mic. And
right there with the lyrics from Wayfaring Stranger.
Nice. It's honestly, I love Johnny Cash. And as soon as you posted that Wayfaring Stranger, it just again sprung into my mind as well. I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But when you were saying you're not one to talk to yourself, I totally understand that. I'm the same. That's why I would never go live. I usually pre-record my stuff. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Yeah. Every time I join these things, it changes my mic and stuff. So, but yeah. Nice. And it's nice to meet you. I apologize I wasn't able to say hello at first. Like I said, it was on the wrong mic.
Oh, it's no problem. No problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind this morning?
Not much. I was writing about opinion versus value this morning.
Okay.
But then I was in a Christian chat room in Discord later today. And honestly, that was, wow, what a mind twist that was.
Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, there wasn't very many Christians when I first arrived.
Mm-hmm.
But what was shocking for me, the Christians that came in didn't really understand their own theology. It was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, my takeaway is like Jordan Peterson's. Here we go. So Jordan Peterson's Jubilee discussion, right? I personally think this is exactly what's going on. No matter who watches that video, they either think Jordan failed or that someone got one over on him. The example I might give is, was it you that interviewed the young lad who tried to call Jordan on worshiping?
No.
I was somebody in this corner of the internet interviewed one of the interviewers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was Paul and Upcycle. They talked to Greg, I think his name was. Yeah, Greg, who was one of the people that was in the debate with Jordan.
Yeah. So what shocked me is I've seen people use him as an example and talk about how, see, Jordan doesn't want to. So what I did is I went and got the transcript of that segment and went through it. And it is 100% clear that this is what I think Jordan was trying to do. And most of these, whatever you want to call them, the 20 people who were non-theists, just didn't want to hear. If you look at the transcript, Jordan Peterson said, okay, you are a secularist or an atheist, whatever you are. So if I try to ground the nature of God, what is God, right? In something, I'll give you a different example later, in something that's religious, well, you're going to balk. So I think that's why Jordan said, okay, let's look at God as conscious or consciousness, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think ultimately with Jordan, if I were going to try to shorthand explain to you the argument that Jordan Peterson is always making for the existence of God, it is fundamentally this. There is a real. You know that it's good. This is what everyone means when they say God.
Yeah. Wow.
Because there's no reason for there either to be a real or a good if there is no God. And if you think there is, then you don't understand what the word God means in the first place. The problem is that it takes a long time. You can't you just all you can do is continue to point until people see it for themselves, and it takes a long time for that to happen. So that, like, the entire setup for what Jordan is trying to do, it was never going to work.
No,
it was never going to work. You need someone who's going to be successful in that scenario is someone who is actually doesn't care about helping people encounter the real at all, and just wants to score points for an interpretation or an argument that they know that they can win points on. So this is why, right? So William Lane Craig would do a much better job in that format because he knows how to do that. He has that skill set than what Jordan Peterson had. Do I think that Jordan Peterson's understanding of God might be in some ways deeper than William Lane Craig's, despite his philosophical and theological credentials? I would say yes.
I would agree. No, see, what I mean is, if I could flesh out what Jordan, tell me if you would agree. So what I think Jordan was doing is he was trying to ground the nature of God. So the other example I give is I watched, did you watch Jordan Peterson and Vivek Ramaswamy talk about God in like a 3-hour-long interview? Did you ever see that?
Right.
Yeah, well, long story short, they were never talking to each other, right? Because Jordan Peterson has a concept of God, which is rooted in probably Christianity, Jungian, whatever. And Vivek Ramaswamy sees God as the Hindu Ishvara. So what I think Jordan Peterson was trying to do was break through linguistic relativity and say, hey, secular person, atheist person, non-theist, whatever you are, let's find common meaning, common ground, sense-making. So what is God? It's this crazy idea in the sky. So I think this is why Jordan said, okay, he didn't get to it, but I think this is what he was going to do. God is something greater than ourselves. Nous in classical terms, what you call it, radical empiricism of William James, the collective unconscious of Jung. I think Jordan wanted to use grammar, and this is what I think Marshall McLuhan warned us of, is when we can't understand each other's grammar, never mind these kids who don't understand their own grammar, you can never get together. So I think Jordan wanted to say, hey, God, think of it as consciousness. And this is why I think he thought this. Because what is consciousness? We still don't know what it is. It's something metaphysical. And I think he wanted him to get to this point that there's a great author. I would love if someone knows the book. He wrote about how we come to faith. And the biggest part of the book that resonated for me is he said, when we're young, before even language, as children, we realize that we're more than the sum of our parts, right? We're more than what we can touch and what we can see. Kids know, call it conscious, call it self, call it soul. Kids know that there's more to the world than what we can touch and see. And yet, as we age, we seem to get trained out of that. And I think that's what he was trying to do. What do you think?
Well, yeah, exactly. It was very, like, what Jordan does is actually not that dissimilar. I had Esther Meek on my channel recently, and what Jordan is trying to do is not actually that dissimilar from what Esther's doing. And in fact, her book that I talked to her about, Doorway to Artistry, she actually calls it a metaphysics of childhood.
I love
like that. That's what she calls it. And it is about, like, it is about restoring basically it's about restoring the real, of recovering the idea of the real. I just want to know, like,
awe, is that as well, the real, enchantment, awe, wonder.
Yes. The wonder that is present in all things.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, right.
Dr. Keltner wrote his PhD on that, but he calls it awe, not,
Right. Yeah. Now, Neil actually has something interesting to say here. He says you have to distinguish it from pantheism, though, Nate. And I'm like,
exactly.
Okay. I'm like, yes, but you don't want to over distinguish it from pantheism either. Exactly. If you over distinguish it from pantheism, you actually lose something in the process. And I would say, actually, two things I would point you toward on that would be Pajot's. There was a clip that Pajot put out recently that was the portion of his conversation about the Bible as a map of reality. but there was a portion of the conversation where he was talking about creation, about incarnation as creation. He also posted. He also had a tweet recently where he indicated that he's finally getting around to reading Jordan's book that I gave him back in Chino.
I have a to be read list too.
So he's reading Jordan. He's reading Jordan's book, and Jordan, in his conversation with Gospel Simplicity, they actually spend a good deal of time on Jordan explaining, like, well, what is the difference between the kind of Christologic that he is talking about in the idea that the incarnation is creation and pantheism. And so it is different, but let's not overemphasize that difference either, because you don't want to disconnect God from the world that he's created.
Well,
he's
you know
involved
what?
with it.
I've run into this so much that I have taken to, I don't talk about pantheism. I talk about panentheism.
Right,
like
panentheism.
God in everything. But as you say, it's not in everything. I argue there's no God in AI, right?
Right.
But if we, and follow me, this is internal family systems. If we integrate a technology into our very being, then that can become, in a sense, divine. But until we integrate it, so I find that funny, right?
Okay, I warned everybody that I would have to. It was great. We'll have to talk again soon. Let's intentionally make a plan to talk.
Sure.
Shoot me an email to the Grail Country box. We'll set up a conversation. I think you and I could have a great conversation. I would love to talk to you, but I'm going to have to make this one a quick one because my wife is up and there's wedding business to attend to.
Yeah. Well, have an awesome day, my man.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.